According to the HUR source, which gave comments to the Kyiv Independent publication, the Lukoil oil depot in Kstova was targeted by 4 drones, all of which successfully struck the facility, causing significant damage. The source described the refinery as a site that supports the activities of the Russian occupation forces and confirmed the attack took place around midnight local time. The facility is located approximately 800 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. This strategy of systemic attacks against the oil infrastructure of the aggressor follows several possible goals. First is to strain and exhaust Russian air defenses by carrying out strikes in all accessible parts of the Federation, put Russian air defenses out of Ukraine, as most of the combat-ready systems are right now here, trying to hunt for F-16 jets. In both scenarios, it is the occupying force that is going to take economic and logistical losses. A recent wave of long-range strikes has targeted multiple Russian oil refineries, significantly disrupting the country's fuel production capacity. Between January 24th and 29th, Ukrainian forces carried out attacks on 3 major refineries: Ryazan oil refinery, 17.1 million tons of capacity; Novoshakhtinsk oil products plant, processing capacity of 5 million tons; and Lukoil refinery, processing of 17 million tons. The Ryazan oil refinery and Lukoil are the third and fourth largest oil refineries in Russia in terms of capacity. If these facilities sustain severe damage, Russia could lose nearly 40 million tons of oil processing capacity, accounting for approximately 15% of its total refining capacity.
A refinery in the Volgograd region is the 6th largest among Russian oil refineries. The facility is part of the Lukoil group of companies. The fact that the Volgograd refinery was hit has been confirmed by both the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and the Center for Contracting Disinformation at the National Security and Defense Council of Ukraine.
This refinery, based on its design capacity, ranks among the top 10 largest oil refineries in Russia and is involved in supplying the occupying Russian army. There have been reports of flashes and explosions in the vicinity of this critical refinery for the occupiers. Military operations targeting strategic infrastructure directly affect the Russian armed forces' ability to continue military operations against Ukraine, and this will persist. From the message of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine on Facebook.
Local authorities hastily claimed that only debris from a downed drone fell on the refinery. The Russian Ministry of Defense traditionally reported that all targets were repelled during the night of January 31st. However, despite attempts to conceal the real consequences of such attacks, oil refineries as a rule are forced to suspend operations due to the damage inflicted. For example, the Ust-Luga port in the Leningrad region likely halted oil shipments after a drone strike on the oil pumping station Andriapol in the Tver region on January 29th. According to Bloomberg, the suspension of oil transit through the Ust-Luga port in the Baltic Sea could lead to a collapse in Russian oil sales.
The interest lies in the fact that 70% of the shadow tanker fleet, which is actively subjected to sanctions and serves as one of Russia's methods to bypass the so-called price cap on oil sales, operated through the Baltic. This oil-loading port actively serviced Russian shadow tanker fleet. This could have a significant impact on the ability to sell oil.
On January 29th, Ukraine's defense forces attacked another refinery in the city of Kstova. The attack was confirmed by the Ukrainian General Staff. This refinery is involved in supplying the Russian army. According to experts, recent data indicates that in the past month and a half, the real export of shadow tanker oil has decreased by 30%. One of the reasons is attacks on Russian refineries, which are unable to process crude oil. For instance, the Novoshakhtinsk refinery in Russia has suspended operations as reported by the Center for Contracting Disinformation at the National Security and Defense Council of Ukraine.
In 2024, it processed around 3 million tons of oil. while its full capacity was 7.5 million tons. However, attacks prevented it from operating at full capacity. Now, equipment is damaged. Andriy Kovalenko, head of the Center for Countering Disinformation at the National Security and Defense Council, on Telegram.
Due to drone attacks, oil processing volumes in Russia in 2024 fell to a 12-year low, while exports of petroleum products dropped by 9%. According to Reuters calculations, Russian refineries lost 13% of their capacities over the year due to downtime caused by drone attacks and difficulties with repairs due to Western sanctions on the supply of technologies and equipment to Russia. Reported by Serhiy Kulyas, Victoria Smirnova, UATV News.